Hi, I'm Darius Amiri. I am an immigration lawyer and the chair of the immigration practice at Rose Law Group PC, a law firm based out of Scottsdale, Arizona. And the presidential election is coming up on November 3rd, 2020, just a few weeks away. And so there's never been a more important time to vote, regardless of which side of the aisle you might be on. It's really important that we all participate in the electoral process. And that brings me to my topic for today, which is how an immigrant or someone who is not a natural born U.S. citizen can naturalize, become a U.S. citizen, and then be able to vote and participate in our American electoral process. So let's go through some of those requirements right now. The first requirement is for someone who was not born in the United States but who immigrated here to become a U.S. citizen and to one day vote in elections. The first requirement is to be a lawful permanent resident for at least 5 years. A lawful permanent resident, oftentimes shorthand we say a green card, so a green card holder. The next requirement is that a candidate for citizenship, for naturalized citizenship, be at least 18 years old at the time that they file for naturalization. The next requirement is that a lawful permanent resident demonstrate 5 years of continuous presence in the United States prior to applying for citizenship. Um, the if the person has traveled outside the United States for more than 6 months at any one time, this could be problematic in proving your continuous physical presence. And trips outside the United States of over a year can definitely be a problem in breaking your continuous presence. The USCIS uses a formula. They want for a candidate to show that they've been in the U.S. for at least 30 months out of the past 5 years when they come to apply to become a naturalized citizen. Next, a person must demonstrate that they've lived in the precinct or state that they're applying for citizenship in for at least 3 months prior to sending in their application. So say, for example, you just moved from California to Arizona. Well, at the time you apply, you'd want to show a lease agreement or utility bills in your local address dating back at least 3 months. Next, you must demonstrate that you're a person of good moral character. So what does that mean? Typically, USCIS will look in the 5 year period prior to the time that you applied for citizenship and see if you've committed crimes, had tickets, had warrants from outstanding court dates you missed, fines that went unpaid, probationary periods. So you want to make sure you've taken care of all those things in the past 5 years. And they can look back at any time. So even if you've been really good for the past prior 5 years, but you had some runs with law enforcement previously, that could be an issue as well. On this point, I think it's really important to meet with a qualified immigration attorney and go over your record if you do have any adverse contact with law enforcement prior to applying for citizenship. Next, you have to be able to demonstrate that you can read, write, and speak basic English. This does have an exception, which allows someone to bypass the requirement to take the exam in English and actually take it in their native language, depending on how long they've been a lawful permanent resident or had their green card and how old they are at the time they've applied. So typically the older someone is and the longer they've had their green card, they may be able to bypass this requirement. Next, a candidate for naturalized citizenship has to demonstrate an understanding of U.S. government and civics and history in the form of a test that's administered on the day of their interview. Typically, if you can answer 6 out of 10 questions correctly, do a little bit of studying, U.S. history, government, presidents, important dates, Declaration of Independence, things like that. If you do a little bit of studying, you'd be okay on this point. And finally, you have to take an oath of loyalty to the U.S. Constitution. So you have to say that you'll bear arms on behalf of the United States if called upon. If you're a foreign noble or prince and you have claims to lands abroad, you may have to renounce those. So I'm really sorry about that. But if you're planning on hanging on to those inherited estates, that might be a problem for you if you want to be a U.S. citizen. But they do want your loyalty first and foremost to be to the United States if you want to be a citizen here. All right. Well, these are the requirements for someone who is not a natural born U.S. citizen, but who immigrated here, got a green card, and now wants to become a naturalized citizen. These are the requirements and the steps that person would have to go through. And once they become a citizen, then and only then can they vote in national or in statewide or local elections. Super important to vote. It's a big part of being an American. It's a big part of our democracy. But but you can't do it unless you're a U.S. citizen. So thanks for tuning in, and remember, this is just general advice. This is not specific legal advice formulated to your case. If you're going to apply for citizenship, please reach out to us. We can help you at roselawgroup.com or dacalawyers.com, or speak with a qualified immigration attorney before you just go in and blindly do it. It's a really important thing. Thank you so much for your time. Take care. Be safe.